With the Olympics going on right now, I wanted to spotlight one of the most physically challenging sports.
You know, I'll tell you the scariest thing.
Water polo.
My first Olympics,
Full of determination and grit.
he was 6'9", 275 pounds, bigger than me.
So on this episode, I sat down with silver medalist Ryan Bailey. Hey, there's this guy. He's really big. And you got to watch out for him flipping you over in the inner tube. I just couldn't imagine being that young and going to the Olympics for the first time.
I'm 24 years old. This is my lifelong goal that I had set when I was a teenager. So your 4 years of training could come down to one moment that either makes it or breaks it for you.
I think that one thing that everybody wants to know is, do you pee in the pool?
Hey, Mike, I got a question.
I got the answer. All right. Hey, welcome back to the Hey Mike podcast. Ryan Bailey over here. I have quite a long list of accomplishments that this guy has done through his career, and I couldn't really remember all of them, so I'm just going to read them off really quickly. All right. I got U.S. men's national water polo team. He has gone to the Olympics in 2000 in Sydney. He went in 2004 to Athens. He went to 2008 in Beijing. He went to 2012 in London. He got the silver medal in the 2008 Beijing Olympics, the highest finish ever for men's water polo. In 2012, leading scorer for U.S. men's with 13 goals. He played professional water polo in Croatia, Russia, Greece, and
Serbia.
Serbia?
Right. Garden spot.
Wow. That's crazy. So those are the accomplishments. Ryan, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
That is a crazy list. And when we first met, I don't even know how many years ago.
My daughter was in first grade, so three, 4 years ago.
Oh, see, he doesn't even remember. The first time I met you, though, was during Water Polo innertube.
Oh.
Do you remember this?
I do remember this.
I think this was 2015 or 2016. This was a while ago.
It was a low point, Mike, for me.
It was a high point for me.
Yeah, it was post-retirement, so I retired from water polo in 2012. It was a lot of fun. There was kegs on the pool deck.
There was.
It was quite different from my former career, but we had a good time with it.
That's true. So the first time I ever met Ryan, I was told about him before, hey, there's this guy. He's really big. He's already played water polo. He's Olympian. And you got to watch out for him flipping you over in the inner tube. And I was like, what? And it was totally true.
Rumors.
Because I remember he would just kind of like strong arm, put his arm out like this, which you can't even touch because he's so big. And he would just come up to you and press his foot down, and you would just flip over in the inner tube. And that happened to me a few times.
Well,
but it was super fun.
I'm very comfortable in the water.
You are very
So
comfortable.
On land, I'm a wimp. I'm a big guy.
That's
I'm a
not
wimp.
true. I doubt it.
In the water, you don't want to mess with me. It's just one of those things.
So how did you get started in this? Do you have like a family history of water polo players?
So I have an older brother who got into water polo, and then I followed in his footsteps. Started at Long Beach State when I was about 8 years old. My dad was the athletic trainer at Long Beach, so he's like, get out of my office, go to the pool. And so that's what ended up happening. He'd get tired of me hanging out and send me to the pool, so I'd go swim and play water polo, and just started, loved it, kept going. When I was in high school, I tried to play a little bit of football. My dad has 7 brothers who all played football in college and all got scholarships. And so that was like a thing maybe for my family. And the football coaches loved me. They're like, big guy, he's pretty athletic, we could make something of him. And it turned out that they wanted to make me decide between water polo and football. And so I chose water polo.
And what position? Were you at that point kind of moving around different positions, or did you kind of have your set position?
Well, I'm the big guy. So in water polo, it's a little like basketball. It's a little like soccer. In soccer, it would be center forward. And in water polo, so there's goals at either end of the field, and my back is to the goal, and I have a defender on my back. And so in water polo, it's called center, or 2 meters. In basketball, it'd be the center.
Okay.
And so I'm in front of the goal, and I have a defender on my back, and it's my job to wrestle with them, get them off me, and score goals.
Oh, so you are scoring the goal. So the goal is to your back for
That's
you.
Right. That's right.
You're not defending.
No. Defense is not my thing.
Okay,
I want to
got
play
it.
offense, and I want to score goals.
Does it get pretty dirty?
You know, it can. You always hear stories. And actually, the women are way more dirty than the men.
Really?
Yeah. Internationally, when you play water polo and if somebody does something they shouldn't be doing, I'll gouge their eyes out or do something horrible to them. So it's kind of mutually assured destruction. If I do something to you, you're going to hurt me.
Yeah.
And if you do something to me, I'm going to hurt you. So then everybody just plays normally at that point.
Interesting. But it's still physical down below.
It's physical. It's wrestling.
Yeah.
It's not, but no cheap shots. You don't have guys really trying to punch you or elbow you or grab you.
Yeah.
I have a friend who played water polo, and you tell me if this is true or not, but he said that people would sharpen their toenails to try and cut people.
It's the younger kids do stuff like that. They have nails, and you come out of these games with scratches all over your body. And it's the younger categories, it's the girls, but once you keep going forward, that stops. It all kind of goes away.
Oh, good.
But it's a real thing in high school or age group for sure.
They actually sharpen their nails.
Well, they just cut their nails, and you know how the first moment after it's like pretty sharp.
Ouch.
Interesting. So as you get higher and higher level, people become more respectful.
The violence becomes a lot less.
It does.
Yeah, it can be physical.
For sure,
But no
yeah.
one's trying to hurt each other.
Right. Yeah. You're not trying to go in and grab someone's nuts.
No.
Rip them out or something. I just imagine, like, for the men you're down below, it's hard to see anything. So a lot of kicking and
100%. So water polo, or the water comes up to your neck. And, I'll tell you the scariest thing. If you have, there was a Russian player, played in 2000, 2004. He was 6'9", 275 pounds, bigger than me.
damn.
And he had the size head of an 8-year-old. His head was very small. So to a referee, it looks like, Jesus, Bailey's in there beating up on a 10-year-old. But this guy's just as big as me and giving it as good as I am. And it's pretty funny.
So you kept getting the fouls?
Yeah, because it looks like I'm beating on a child.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So what are some of those stories that kind of go along with, I guess, your progression into this? When you realized, okay, I'm a little bit better than everybody.
Yeah.
There's a difference out there. Like, did someone just approach you and say, hey, we want you on the Olympic team? Or how does that work?
So I went to college. I went to UC Irvine.
Okay.
And the water polo training for the Olympics in '96 was taking place at Corona Del Mar High School, which is down the street from UC Irvine. And my first practices were because they needed guys. And so they're like, hey, coach, send a couple guys down. We need some practice bait.
Really?
And that's how it started. And then from after the 96 Olympics in Atlanta, then it became 97. They call up a bunch of guys to start training. And I was one of those guys. So from 97 until 2012, I was on every trip, was at every training.
Really?
And just kept going. Yeah.
So when they first call you up, it's more of just a practice. Hey, we already have
We
guys.
need some guys.
But we need to play against some people.
Or these guys are working really hard. They're really tired. We need some young, fresh guys who can beat them in all the swim sets so that they're a little more motivated.
Yeah.
And so I was one of those guys at the start. And you just kind of grow from there. They changed coaches a couple times, but I was always part of the team. And you just kind of keep going. And in college, I was a great player, All-American player, but it was always the Olympics that was my goal.
Really?
For sure.
So what comes out of college or Olympics? I mean, is it like you're going into college hoping for the Olympics, or do a lot of guys go to the Olympics hoping that they're going to go on a good college team?
So, everyone's different. But for me, growing up in Long Beach, the Belmont Plaza Pool was the location of international water polo. All the best high school teams played their finals there. All the best college teams played there. So I had the chance to see the different levels and what was open or available. And then I was inspired by the '84 Olympics that were in Los Angeles. I was 9, and so that was inspiring to see these guys and meet some of them. And I always thought the Olympics was where it's at for me. So I think from when I was 16 years old, I decided that water polo was my thing and that I was going to take ownership of it. And once you decide you love it and take ownership, then going to practice, like I said earlier, is just fun. It's my thing. But I was not a good player. When I was 14, I tried out for the junior team of water polo, and they do a swim set at the beginning of the tryout where you have to swim 8 laps. And a normal kid who's 14 or 15 year olds will take 2 minutes to swim 8 laps. And my first tryout, when I was trying out for this team for the first time, 8 laps, 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Like by far the slowest swimmer there. And it's like, okay, this kid's big. He can handle the ball okay, but can't swim. And so that was my starting point.
Really?
And you just grind it out. You grind it out and keep going. And eventually you get there. My first Olympics, in 99, my coach came to me, and I was an All-American player. I was the leading scorer of NC2As 3 times. And he comes to me and goes, hey, international water polo, the players are fast. If you want to be on this team, you need to learn how to swim. And I'm like a great swimmer, done all these things. So at that point, I went and joined a swim team. So I'd have morning water polo practice, swim team, and then night water polo practice. And I swam at Golden West College for a good swim coach. He taught me the proper way to swim with good technique. And it totally changed my water polo career.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's important because at that point, if someone gets the ball, it's like driving down, the basketball, whoever's running, and then they get a sprint on.
Well, imagine. So I'm in front of the goal. I have a defender on my back. If there's a turnover, he is sprinting as fast as he can to the other end of the pool. And my job is, I'm wrestling and fighting, but I still have to keep up with him so he doesn't score a goal every time.
Yeah, because you can't grab him.
No,
right?
It's a power play if you do. So you just have to be able. You don't have to be as fast as them, but you have to be able to figure out how to not get beat every time. And so that's what I was able to get to.
So someone who's just going to start water polo, what are some of the basics that someone would need to understand? Besides learning how to swim, I hear was it the Eggbeaters or something?
Yeah.
Like stay above water?
Uh-huh.
So what kind of drills would you guys do at the beginning?
Well, when Eggbeaters is a big one for young kids. It's the kick that allows you to get out to your suit and get up in the air when you're shooting.
Hey, real quick, what's an egg beater? Could you describe that?
Egg beater is a kick where one leg goes one way and the other leg goes the other way. It's kind of like walking and chewing gum. And once you get it, you can do it forever. Like people will ask me like, hey, Ryan, how long could you egg beater for? Because that's the YMCA test is like holding a brick and egg beatering for 10 minutes and you can be a lifeguard. But if you ask me how long I could egg beater, the answer is forever. Because I don't think about it. It's nothing that I've done it so much that I don't use any energy doing it. And, you eventually learn how to float, and it's just something that every water polo player has to have.
Do you use that then to get up like height? Like,
yeah.
When you throw the ball or go for a goal or whatever?
Yeah, it is the kick that you use. You egg beater up as high as you can. For me, it was out to my belly button, but for some guys, they're getting out above their suit, and you're getting up as high as you can and throwing as hard as you can.
Man, like you up to your belly button, you must have been so tall. Because you're like what, 6'5"?
Yeah, I'm 6'5".
And are the other guys that tall, or is it?
Yes.
Wow.
There's some big guys around for sure. There's some smaller teams. The Spanish are small and like fast and quick. The Italians are pretty small usually. But then we moved to Eastern Europe. And when you mentioned the countries that I played in, I'm an Eastern Europe guy. They like the big guys.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. And so Serbia, Croatia, Russia, big dudes.
Oh, they are?
I was not the biggest guy on the team.
Really?
No. I was one of the strongest, but not the biggest.
So when it gets in the water, it doesn't always mean like filled out this way, but like lengthy, right?
Yeah.
When you're really lengthy, then you have more room to cover.
I mean, it's as simple as I have a close friend who's 5 feet 9 inches tall, but he has a 6'9" wingspan.
What?
So in the water, he's a 6'9" guy, because it doesn't matter how tall you are top to bottom. If you have long arms, you're a big guy.
Yeah. So your torso section
Yeah.
is what matters in water
Yeah.
polo, more so about like just having long legs.
For sure.
I would do horrible in water polo, apparently.
I have long arms. My knuckles drag. It's definitely helped.
It's not. I wouldn't do well either.
No?
I'm 5'6". I'm 5'6".
Hey, the best water polo player in history is 5'6".
Are you serious? Really?
Swear to God.
Wow.
His name is Manuel Estiardi. He's a Spanish guy. He's actually an assistant coach for Man City in soccer. He is a complete animal, stud, scored all the most important goals, was the leading scorer of the Olympics during the 80s and 90s, and 5'6", blazing fast for 3 strokes, and just a stud.
I picture like a guy with little legs and a long upper body, you know, like being able to get out of the water.
I just couldn't imagine being that young and going to the Olympics for the first time. You get there and like the pressure, the amount of people, you're in another country.
So it's more than that, right? Because I'm 24 years old. This is my lifelong goal that I had set when I was a teenager. And so I don't remember the Sydney Olympics. It's a whirlwind. I scored some goals, I think. But I can't remember any of the special moments.
Really?
No, it just blew by. And then, I accomplished every goal that I ever had to myself when I was 24. And so then it comes to, okay, obviously I can't be done as a 24-year-old. What's the next thing? And so then it becomes a process of, okay, making the team isn't enough. Now I want to be one of the best players.
Right. Yeah.
And you just start building from there. But it's a mind screw when you first make it there, for sure.
Well, because you have another 4-year gap.
Yeah.
So that's the hardest thing I think of when the Olympics, like you make it there, and then let's say you're like, okay, well I gotta prep for the next Olympics. That's 4 years later. That's so much time to think about it.
But then once you get to the Olympics, after those 4 years of training, you really need to win a medal to get respect and endorsements or whatever. Winning a medal is very, very important to the U.S. Olympic Committee, to your sport, and sometimes it'll come down to how the ball bounces.
Oh my
so your
gosh.
4 years of training could come down to one moment that either makes it or breaks it for you. So you just have to blind faith, keep going.
Wow. Think about that. Like coming down so close,
Yeah.
and then not making it, and then having to say, all right, I'm going to get them in 4 years from
I mean,
now.
I lost in the quarterfinal 3 times. In 2000, we lost to the Russians. And it was on a last second no call by the referee, where we would have tied the game and gone forward. In 2004, again, the Russians, and we lost by a goal in the last minute of the game. And then in 2012, I think it was the Croatians who beat us, who went on to win the gold medal. So it can really come down to 15 seconds to 5 seconds. One either bar in or bar out when you shoot and hit the post. Does it go in?
Yeah.
Does it bounce out? Was someone there to rebound it? I mean, it can come down to the very smallest of things.
But that's crazy that you went 4 times.
The playing water polo in Europe, I did it for 8 years, and that kept my water polo career going. It made it so that when my career was over, I had some money in the bank and owned some stocks and owned some real estate, and it really kind of set me up for success.
So permanently you were living over in Europe for 8 years.
9 months out of the year.
Okay.
And then I would come home for the summer, play for the USA, and then go back.
Oh, wow. That's keeping you busy.
Yeah. It was awesome.
How many, were they big fans over there in Croatia?
Well, this Dubrovnik team, so it's a small town. It's a huge town in the summer because, there's boats that land there. The jet setters all arrive in Dubrovnik because it's beautiful. It's white stone walls. It's where they film Game of Thrones.
Oh, cool.
And it's amazing. It's a beautiful city. But during the winter, which is the water polo season, it's 10,000 people. And the water polo pool holds 5,000. We would pack it out. So half the town literally would show up to our water polo games. They'd have flares, horns, drums. I mean, it was awesome. It's something, in the United States at a water polo game, you have your mom, maybe your girlfriend shows up, and that's about it. In Croatia, it's 5,000 people who are invested because most of the town had played water polo at some point in their life. So they would show up to games, cheer, And like I said, it was the European champion, so they loved us.
So do you get like endorsement deals and anything like that when you're over there?
No,
With
but
those people?
you know what you would be in is not endorsement deals, but I was in like several, like the newspaper. They would rate players on how well you played. So you know how they do in soccer. If a great player scored a goal, they get an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you give up a goal, you get a 4 out of 10. After every water polo game, they would rate us, like what number out of 10 that you were, and then if you had a good game, you could drink for free that Saturday night.
Yeah,
and if you had a bad game, you didn't want to be around. So it's not really endorsements, but you did get taken care of. For sure.
The people would take care of you.
Yeah.
Depending on if you did well or not.
100%.
And so doing that, you go over there, you live for 9 months, and then you come over here. How did you balance that? Because I mean, did you have family at that point, like a wife? Or
This is pre-family.
this is all before.
Yeah, my last 2 years in Europe.
Oh, whoops. That's
Jeez, Mike.
silent,
Every
dude.
time.
Come on.
Every time.
Come on.
My last 3 years in Europe, I lived 2 years in Serbia
Okay.
and 1 year in Greece, and Angela came with me.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, so we were planning on going to live in Budapest, which is a great town. They love water polo too. It's fun. And I got a call right before leaving, and they're like, no. You have to come play for us. Again, it was, this fantastic team, most famous team in Europe. They're Serbian dudes. And I went and played for them. So she had to change her plans from beautiful Budapest to go live in Belgrade, which I don't know if you remember, but the USA bombed in 2003 and 4. So there's no love for Americans there mostly.
So you weren't treated very well once you got there?
I was treated great.
Oh, okay.
But they ask you, about politics or something, and you just go, "Hey, man, I don't know anything about politics. I just play sports. That's all I do." So that was my standard answer, and it was fun.
So I mean, how many places have you lived now? Because it sounds like they kind of moved you around quite a bit.
Yeah, I was, so 4 different countries: Serbia, Croatia, Russia, and Greece.
Oh, Russia too.
Yeah, Russia was a crazy experience.
What? Tell me about it.
It's freezing cold. The sun doesn't come out, or the sun came out, but it was only while I was at water polo practice. So you can go an entire 8 months without ever seeing the sun. It's depressing.
Really?
Oh, it's awful. But at the same time, Russia's really cool. It has great, interesting history. The people were really good to me. Once you travel to all these countries and you play for different teams and have all these experiences, you realize everyone is the same. Everyone wants the same things. You want to have, a healthy, happy family.
Yeah.
You want to have a job. You want to be able to take care of them. And you just want to, have everyone be good. And I totally learned that from living in these types of places, because Serbians are no different than we are. I mean,
I would imagine, yeah.
Russians are the same. It's just like, we just want to be good and take care of our families.
So you do this for how many years? I mean, you're at that point. I mean, like by the time you end your career, how many years have you been playing water polo?
16 years on the national team.
Okay.
But also since I was 8 years old, so 30 years.
30 years.
28 years. I did the math one time, and the amount of time that I was in a swimming pool by the time that I retired from playing water polo as a 37-year-old, it was something like 7 years of my life had been in the water, like 24 hours a day. It was a lot.
How do you like, if I'm in a pool too long, my skin gets dry.
Yeah.
Does it happen for you guys? Or you guys get used to it?
You just keep going. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No.
And you guys are jumping in the pool early mornings. I notice a lot of your pools are outdoors,
Yeah.
right?
Especially not in Europe, but in the
Okay.
U.S. for sure.
Why is that? Because I figure you guys are jumping in the pool 6 in the morning. Has to be freezing during
It's
the
horrible.
winter time.
It's horrible.
And the pool is not like 85 degrees, like I've touched those pools. I feel like they're like 70 something.
Yeah. 72 is good. What's worse, and we've had this experience too, is when it's an outdoor pool. It's so hot that the pool is 100 degrees.
Oh no.
That's the worst.
Really?
I'd rather swim in a cold pool to play a game than a hot pool. Hot pools are a disaster.
Because you're just sweating, you're
Dying.
miserable.
Dying.
Really? So that happens. That
It
it
happens.
will actually get that hot.
Yeah. And we played in the World Championships in Barcelona, where the Serbian team that we were playing against, who was like one of the top teams in the world, was melting down. And we were the, young American team who ended up tying them in the world championships, mainly because the pool was so hot.
And they were just like,
They were
get me out of this pool.
Dying. It's pretty funny.
So when you move to all these different pools, are all the pools basically the same? Like, are they just big, deep pools, or are they like shallow ones, are they just made for water polo?
All different things. We played in a pool in Russia that they would shut down. They would close and make it a nightclub. So you'd arrive for your game the next day, and there'd be all kinds of things floating in the pool. We played in a pool in Greece where I could stand on the bottom, and I could stand and have my head out of the water.
Really?
Yeah. Some of the pools you can't see the bottom. Or if you do Eggbeater too hard, a big pad of algae will float right in front of you. We played in rock bottom pools that were fed by a spring.
What?
And then I also played in a bombed out hotel that was bombed by, when Yugoslavia broke up. Bombed out hotel that was fed by seawater, no heater.
No heater.
I played one season in that too.
So there isn't necessarily a standard between countries.
Nope. In Hungary, there's a stainless steel pool. I mean, there's a pool that's shaped like a guitar. There's a lot of different ones.
And I've seen that some of the during the Olympics, they'll actually build their own pool, right?
Yeah.
Like in a coliseum or something.
Yeah. Well, we just saw it. So they just had the Olympic trials for swimming, and they took over the Indiana Colts Stadium, put a big curtain up, set the swimming pool on one side of the stadium, had 50,000 fans, and then put the warm-up pool behind the curtain. And that's actually what they're going to do at SoFi for the 28 Olympics in Los Angeles.
When you go there and you're at the Olympics and you're talking to people, I mean, at that point, everyone knows who you are. So do you get like special treatment when you're kind of walking around?
I mean, special treatment. Of course, as an athlete, I thought I was the coolest thing in the world. And then you go to the Olympics and you do these things. When you're in the bubble, yes, you were the coolest thing.
Yeah.
But however, when you retire and go move on to the next thing and get a real job and have kids and a family, you realize no one cares. No one cares, and it's all part of it. When you're in that circle that you think you're cool, but then you move on and you realize, okay, now it's time to live life.
But it does turn you into the person you are, right? So like if you're someone who thrives on it, then you're going to do really well in those environments, opposed to someone who gets super nervous.
100%. You get used to it.
You do.
It's just like anything else. Like we were talking about in my first Olympics in 2000, I was real nervous and didn't know what to do. Are my parents here? I can't look in the stands. What if I wave? What if they wave to me? What do I do? It's like the dumbest, silliest things. And then as you go forward and you get used to it and you start playing in these important games and even playing professional games that are important to you, the people around you, and it becomes like you wave to your parents as soon as you get up there. Hey, how are you guys doing? And it doesn't matter.
Is it tough to sleep? Like, I imagine it'd be really hard.
There are days for sure, but no. I mean, you know what to expect. Part of being in the Olympics is you have to plan and you have to kind of take away all variables, and you want to have as few variables as you can so that you arrive at the pool on time. If the bus is late, what do you do? What time do we get up in the morning? Well, since we play at 9, we have to back out. We need 2 hours for a warm up. We have to eat 3 hours before the game starts. So now we're waking up at 5. Okay, we get at 5. We probably need to be at the pool at 9 or 4 so that we can swim a little bit before we eat. And it's all regimented, and they kind of take away as much thinking as possible so that when you are laying your head down, you're not thinking about those things. They take care of it for you.
Man, I don't know that I'd be able to do that. Like, if I play Water Polo and lose, man, I can't sleep that night.
Yeah, there are those days. My greatest accomplishment was winning a silver medal, and we did it in Beijing. We lost to the Hungarians, and the picture after the game is me so angry and pissed off that I look like I'm ready to kill someone. And that's what afterwards you realize people who win silver medals, well, the way they think about it is they just lost the gold medal game.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when you were talking about, you said Hungary, you lost to Hungary.
Yeah.
And so I was going to ask you, like, were you, here you are getting a silver medal, but you were upset.
Oh, so angry.
You know, I think I have a picture of you guys holding your silver medals. Maybe I'll bring it up here on the screen behind you.
Yeah, let's see this one.
See if I have a smile on my face,
Yeah.
which I guarantee I don't. Yeah, so I'm on the left over here. On the far left.
Yeah. Look at him. Look at him. He looks so pissed.
Oh, you had blonde hair?
Mike, I had hair at one point, yes. Hair and a beard after like a 2-week tournament.
Let me. I got something else
So
here.
how old are you in this picture?
In this picture, I'm 33.
33.
I have something else. You were talking about how difficult it is in playing a guy on your back, the defensive guy.
Yeah. So that guy's a Croatian defender. He's about 6'9" and about 275.
Really?
Yeah. He's a big dude.
That's crazy. Like I thought he was a smaller guy, just using your head to get out of the water.
No,
there.
he's a giant.
So being a big guy helps holding the ball too.
Sure.
I mean, the ball size doesn't change, and you just keep getting bigger. So being able to palm that ball is probably a very important thing, right? Because you guys are
100%.
passing it one-handed, catching it one-handed.
Yeah, you can't touch the ball. The only goalies can touch the ball with two hands.
Is that you? Is that you?
That's Peter Hudnut.
Okay. It came up as you, and I was like, I don't think that's him, but
I'm much more handsome than that.
that's what I was saying. I was like, look, okay, here. Is this it? There we go. Look at that's it.
Oh, there.
There we go.
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Crazy.
That's my water polo trading card picture.
right
Like,
there.
You are huge. Like you're not just tall, but I mean you look thick. You know, like
So when I played Glory Days, I was 250 pounds. Now I'm 280 pounds. But yeah, I was a lot stronger then, and I was a big dude, 6'5", 250. I mean, that's the size of NFL
a linebacker. Yeah,
linebackers.
linebacker.
Yeah.
You know, I had a friend, and we got in an argument about what the toughest sport was, and he was saying hockey, and I was saying football, and so we looked it up online, and it was water polo.
That's right. Water polo and boxing are like the two ones that
Dude, that's intense.
stink really bad.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, water polo is tough because you're doing that egg beater kick.
Yeah.
You have to swim up and down. Sometimes you get hit by accident. Like I've been hit in the throat, can't breathe, and you still have to swim back to play defense. Like it is tough.
Do you think the water polo has changed a lot over the years, or is it pretty much kind of the same? When you look at it and you're like, you see Olympians now, do you feel like it's changed a lot, or it's kind of the same?
You know, it's changed. The way they call the game has changed a little bit. It was more physical in my day. I'll tell you what, though. In 2024, the U.S. men's team is great. They're super talented. It's the first time since 2008 that we have a legitimate chance to win a medal. We'll see if they can pull it together. And on this team, there's 4 kids from Long Beach.
Oh, there are?
Yeah.
Do you know any of them?
Yeah. Max Irving is a kid who went to Long Beach Wilson. He's one of the top players on the team. He's an African-American guy, which is also rare in water polo. Total stud. Plays great defense. Plays for one of the best teams in Europe, for Olympiacos in Athens. And he's going to bring a lot to the table for him. He's one of the best guys.
Hey, I have actually Will here has a question he
Sure.
wanted to ask. Go for it, Will.
What was like one of your all-time favorite memories as an Olympian? I mean, I can only imagine walking out those tunnels in the opening ceremony with with millions of people all around the world watching you. But I mean, I don't know if you have a favorite Olympic memory, and then maybe one other one is a question would be your favorite memory as just as a competitor, like a game or a moment that you feel like you're like, this is like one of the most defining moments I've ever had.
Yeah. For the Olympic stuff, I mean, walking out of the tunnel at opening ceremonies is amazing. I mean, you walk out, the entire world is watching. And, there's 100,000 people in the stadium. And what we would always try and do, because water polo is not the major sport in the Olympics. It's swimming, track and field, men's and women's basketball, gymnastics. So we would always try and find the dream team and walk next to them. So if you go back and watch some of these opening ceremonies, you'll always see like water polo guys walking next to LeBron. And you can tell by their blonde hair that's falling out because they've had too much chlorine.
That's funny. I didn't even think about that part.
Oh, it's real. They're not going to show us. They want to show the most famous guys. So we'll just be standing next to them in all these opening ceremonies things. And then one of the other cool things about the Olympics is Well, you know, the question I get about the Olympics all the time is, oh, you know, you hear how many condoms they use at the Olympics, and you know, oh my gosh, it's going to be crazy.
The Olympic Village?
Yeah, the Olympic Village, and I'll just say, unfortunately, for water polo, we played the first day of the Olympics and we played the last day of the Olympics. The athletes that you want to be, if you want to be able to party for 2 weeks, or you want to be like a shooter, a wrestler who loses in the first round.
Oh, and you're there the whole time.
A boxer, and then you get to lose on the first day and then party for 2 weeks. And as the Olympics go along, we're still training and doing stuff, and people end up in the food hall dressed in their going out clothes, and and then, you know, late at night when we're done with practice or just finished the game, they're coming in and, you know, having a good old time. But for us, it was never like that.
It never stopped for you guys.
Never.
Especially if you kept winning. Because
Yeah.
if you kept winning, that means you can't go out and party.
That's right,
You have to
that's
keep,
right.
You have to keep being in focus and playing.
Yeah, you just got to keep going.
And you're waking up early in the morning, so it's not like you could really party at night anyways, right? I mean,
No,
you're kind of finished up.
I mean, you've already put in, you know, a lot of time. You don't want to blow it. I mean,
Yeah.
we've you know, I don't want to speak poorly of people, but we've had moments where it's like guys left something to chance, and that could have been the reason why you lose the quarterfinal game.
yeah, it's like, dude, why were you out late?
And
Come
then
on.
great guy, love the guy. However, I still will always have this in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you think about it. You've waited 4 years. You've been training this whole time for it, and you want to go out? Like,
Nah,
come on.
not worth it.
Yeah, let's just go
There's
to bed.
plenty of time to go out later.
Yeah. Let's finish it up. Let's get a gold, and then afterwards, let's go party.
Yeah, that's right.
So that still does happen, though, where guys will get there and
Oh, geez. You know,
and still party out.
It's things like my girlfriend got stuck at the airport. She doesn't know where she's staying. My parents need Olympic tickets, and I have to go work on finding their tickets.
And instead of training.
My dad got arrested because he was scalping tickets, trying to get into a different sport. Like, there's lots of things that happen. My wife's pregnant. Things, you know, I'm getting married. There is so many things in your life that can affect those small moments in different ways.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we had full-on agreements amongst the team that no one can get their wife pregnant prior to the Olympics. Like, that is impossible. You cannot have that happen and make the team.
It's almost like I feel like once you get there, you have to say, all right, we're not having conversation with the outside world right now, right? Because you have to block it all out. Because the last thing you want is someone to drop some bomb on you, and then all of a sudden you're like, now we got to play.
Mike, we would even write letters to our families like, hey, we've been training for this for 4 years. We understand that you're going to have issues. Please leave us alone.
Yeah.
And, you know, in nicer terms than that, but we would give them letters before we would leave. And it never fails. There's always something that would happen that someone would have to deal with, but we would be proactive and, you know, try and take all the thinking off our plates if we could.
Yeah.
You know, these are all great answers and great questions, but I think the one thing that everybody wants to know is, do you pee in the pool?
100% yes. Every day at practice. Yeah, you can't take breaks and just, you know, get out and run to the bathroom every time. So for water polo, we're in the pool so much, 100% it happens.
Any other accidents?
You know, we had some, we were training up at Thousand Oaks, and there would occasionally be like some poop in the pool. And that was always the best day, because we would all start complaining, oh no, we can't swim. We can't swim. There's poop in the pool. We can't do this.
Cancel it.
And then they would end up having to cancel practice because we would like make such a scene about it. We got out of a couple practices that way.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That seems like an odd one, but it's a public pool at this point, right?
Yeah, and you know, there's a squirrel, or you know, something happened, or who knows. There's kids swimming in it. Who knows?
But no one ever got sick, like threw up or something in a pool?
They're really careful about that stuff.
They are, okay. But I mean, these are guys that are training so hard though, right?
Yeah.
And like during football, we would have to sprint until someone threw up.
Yeah.
But that stuff never really happens in water polo.
No, I have friends who throw up every day when they train for water polo.
But they're just going outside the pool, throw up, and then jump back in the pool.
Yeah, no, they'll just stay in the pool and just throw up in the gutter and keep going. They don't get out of the pool.
Oh my gosh.
No, they'll throw up.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy story.
It's fun.
Man, I feel like we hit everything.
Felt really good to me. Yeah.
Up to you guys. I
Yeah.
can talk for hours.
Do you have any bullet points that we want to hit on?
We've covered everything I have,
Um,
and more, and more than that.
and more, right?
I have pee in the pool and toughest sport. Those are my bullet points.
Those are good ones.
No. Don't take it off yet.
Okay.
Don't take it off.
We got to do the wrap up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, man, dude, so much fun. I mean, we got the Olympics playing right now this summer here. Thank you for coming on. Your accomplishments are crazy. And if you like this episode, hit the subscribe button, follow, leave us a comment. We'll see you on the next video.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, man.
And cue the music.
Hey, Mike.